I am Fenrir, and today we will be discussing why I hate the British police. In recent years, the British police have been seen harassing and arresting people who have not committed any crimes, while ignoring real crimes, which, in most cases, are serious offences. I find this to be very, very appalling, and the worst part is it is never in the mainstream media, and it is unknown to the majority of people, the British public, that it's covered up and lied about in order to hide facts. And it's a disgusting practice which has been carried out by the British police for a number of years. Recently there was a case that was busted in Telford which showed just how appalling and backwards our police force has become. The cases go back as far as the late 1980s and no action was taken. Now, I am a reasonable person, but it does not take 28 years to crack a local case. This case should have been busted at least 2 decades ago. It should have been at the very top of Telford Police's priority list, but for some unknown reason, they brushed it off and only acted when hundreds of young girls started reporting rape and sexual assault from the area. Here is a screenshot from one of the BBC's articles on the subject. It reads, "Reports on the scale of sexual abuse in Telford are sensationalised, a police chief has said. The Sunday Mirror said it uncovered Britain's worst ever child grooming scandal, with up to 1,000 girls abused by grooming gangs since the 1980s. One victim told how she was abused at a rape house, and the town's MP, Lucy Allen, said girls were being traded for sex in a routine way. West Mercia Police, Tom Harding, significantly disputed the figures. I don't believe Telford is any worse than lots of places across England and Wales," he said. Oh really, Tom? So, are you saying that there isn't a Muslim rape gang in Telford and this is just an isolated incident that has been exaggerated? Or are you saying that the Muslim rape gangs are everywhere and the police have knowledge of them and are not busting them? Because, quite frankly, that is what it sounds like to me. Tom, I think you are full of shit, and you know exactly how bad the situation is, and the British police force are not taking any action against them. Now Tom Harding is a fucking moron if you ask me, and I think he is a walking, talking bag of shit. Look at this next statement of his. CSE is one of the most abhorrent crimes we deal with. Discussion regarding CSE I welcome. I welcome debate, education, understanding. I don't welcome guesses and unhelpful headlines about Telford. CSE is a national issue, but one locally we are doing everything we can to tackle. Oh, is that so, Tom? Well, how come you are only doing something about it now, since the police quite obviously had knowledge of it happening for at least 28 years? Anything you say sounds like lies to me. You knew this was all happening. The Telford police knew it was happening. So I will ask a very simple question. Why was nothing done about it over 2 decades ago? I believe I already have the answer, and that is because they are a group of Muslim men. The Sunday Mirror said it found groups of mainly Asian men were targeting girls in the town. This is a lie. Yes, most were from Pakistan, but a lot of them from Africa, and some were even born in Britain. The only real thing these monsters have in common is their religious beliefs, as all of them are Muslim. Now, let's see what the Mirror has to say. Despite similar high-profile cases in Rochdale and Wrotham, authorities in Telford repeatedly failed to stamp out a network of abusers. The Mirror's 18-month investigation reveals abuse on unprecedented levels. We found social workers knew of the abuse in the 1990s, but police took a decade to launch a probe. Council staff viewed abuse and trafficked children as prostitutes instead of victims, according to previously unseen files. Authorities failed to keep details of abusers from Asian communities for fear of racism. Now we know that when they say Asian, they really mean Muslim. Back to the headline. Police failed to investigate one recent case 5 times until an MP intervened. One victim said cops tried to stop her, finding out why her abusers had not been prosecuted because they feared she would talk to the Mirror. The scale of the abuse uncovered in Telford, population 170,000, is feared to be the most brutal and long-running of all. The Wrotham toll was put at 1,500, but that was in a community of 260,000. Telford's Tory MP Lucy Allen has demanded a public inquiry and said our findings were extremely serious and shocking. It would appear the Mirror has already done a better job at reporting this than the BBC, by criticising the actions, or should I rather say the lack of action taken by Telford police. Now, like I said before, these are Muslim grooming gangs, not Asian grooming gangs. That is a fact. And because the police were scared they defend the Muslims, tells us 2 things. First, it tells us that they fear the Muslim community, as they know if this was made public, there would be riots and possible terror attacks by Muslims. And secondly, it tells us that they would rather ignore a problem to avoid offending Muslims, most of which aren't even British. They are putting the feelings of foreigners before the safety of the British people. Now, this next part made me feel sick and angry, so angry. It got me emotional and I had to stop recording for a little while. So it will be the final part of this video, and part 2 will be released shortly. One 14-year-old groomed and abused after her phone number was sold to paedophiles said, "I hated what was happening and my abusers made my skin crawl. But I was told that if I said a word to anyone, they'd come for my little sisters and tell my mum I was a prostitute. Night after night, I was forced to have sex with multiple men, in disgusting takeaways and filthy houses. I must have been getting the morning after pill from a local clinic at least twice a week, but no one asked any questions. I fell pregnant twice, and I had 2 abortions. Hours after my second termination, I was taken by one of my abusers to be raped by more men. The worst moment came just after my 16th birthday, when I was drugged and gang raped by 5 men. Days later, The ringleader turned up at my house and told me he'd burn it down if I breathed a word of what had happened. Documents which will be passed to the Home Office reveals authorities knew of the horrors a decade before investigating. This is absolutely disgusting and shows the corruption that is festering our police force and literally damaging the people the police are supposed to protect. They should be prosecuted for their actions and lack of action while knowing about these horrific crimes. I have been Fenrir, and thank you for watching this video. Part 2 will be out soon, where I will discuss how the British police think they are above the law, so stay tuned. In the meantime, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Relevant links will be in the description.